Today we are going to talk about arthritis. And what I want to cover today is the program. So we're not going to be talking about the condition so much as what we're going to do to clear the condition. From Dr. Christopher, and it's his explanation for the cause of arthritis. One of the best things I've ever read on it, and it's a lot easier than a bunch of other words I could put into it. The cause is poor elimination. Rheumatism, arthritis, due to toxic matter becoming stagnant in various parts of the body. Urea should be daily expelled from our body an ounce every day. Urea, as you might know, is completely changed waste matter, and as such is easily expelled. Now, if the process of turning the dead tissue into urea is incomplete, it forms uric acid. Certain foods and drinks cause the urea to be left unfinished, or if the urea is hindered or stopped from being expelled, it returns into the system and forms uric acid. The acid can be formed by stopping perspiration. You need to, when you exercise or all that, or using underarm antiperspirants, you don't want to do that. You want to allow the skin to remove the waste and for it to come out. So you don't want to, and stopping perspiration can also happen if you're outside exercising and you're sweating really well and you walk into a highly air-conditioned room, which turns you really cool and just kind of stops all the sweating. Allow yourself to cool down naturally, not with an air conditioner. Cooling off quickly. That was the second point. Cooling off too quickly will stop your perspiration. Neglect of proper bathing. Again, this all comes down to keeping the skin open and your body able to expel the waste. Neglect to change the underclothing and inhaling urea at night while sleeping in ill-ventilated rooms. Avoid all these things if you want to get well. Now, some people have what is known as the uric acid habit. That is, the waste matter does not break down completely. This tendency is due to an extremely abnormal and diseased condition of the blood. So for those who do all those things, they're clean, they don't do bad food, all of this, it might be that their body has, the blood needs to be purified. We need to do the work to get the blood purified and work on that. One of the best herbs for purifying the blood and for supporting the kidneys in getting the urea out of the blood is burdock root. And I've talked about burdock root before. You only want to drink 1 cup of burdock root a day. You don't go drinking this throughout the day because it increases urine flow and it increases the amount of waste that the kidneys are putting out. So one cup a day is plenty. We also make the burdock and lobelia salve, which can be applied as a fomentation, a salve pack over really painful areas. The reason I don't push that so much is because the A&R salve, the arthritis and rheumatism salve, works so much better and does more. It is a more complete thing. So what you're going to find on the info sheets here are a lot of really good suggestions. And what I want you to do is to look at them, and if any of them really speak to you, then follow your instinct and follow those. I am here to offer guidance and to show you where the answers are and what you need to do. Some of these that have never spoken to me, these are Christopher's suggestions, and many of them that have never spoken to me have spoken to other people and been very effective. So don't disregard, there's chaparral tea, bone set, wormwood. Those, they're in the formulas, and I tend to just use the arthritis and the BF&C formula in my routines and in what I'll suggest. So if something else really speaks to you, I believe the Holy Spirit talks to each one of us, and we need to listen. So what I'm going to map out today is what I have found to be a really good program for clearing arthritis from the body. So let's start with the basics. The basic program where everybody needs to begin, whether you are just wanting to do a little bit of cleansing work or you have a major issue, is you got to get the foundational programs in place. And this is making sure your bowels are open and moving well. You need to boost with Echinacea, an ounce of Echinacea, 4 days each week minimum. So you can take your ounce of Echinacea one time a day. And what Echinacea does is it sends a chemical command to your immune system to produce more immune cells. And the reason that this is important is because as you are clearing this and you're cutting the waste from the body, and the immune cells have to attach each piece of waste and neutralize it so that the body can remove this. Otherwise, if the immune cells do not attach and neutralize the waste, it will be reabsorbed and it will not be eliminated through the liver or the kidneys. And that's when you get really symptomatic. If you've ever heard the term healing crisis, cleansing crisis, what happens when this occurs is that the immune system has been used up. All the immune cells are gone. They've all been used, and there's nothing to neutralize the waste that's being created, and it's being reabsorbed. And then you feel like you've been run over by a Mack truck. So you don't want to go there. The Echinacea is really important. An ounce a day of Echinacea 4 days each week is the minimum to begin with. And this is just going to boost your immune system so that you have the immune cells to deal with the die-off that you're creating, so that your body can get rid of the waste instead of just reabsorbing it right back into where it was. Okay, and then the third part of the foundational is the food program. Now, my suggestion is when you start on a really good intense program, you're going to want to go on at least one time, just once, a 10-day juice fast. That is just going to make your system very alkaline and really aid the body in clearing the waste out. You may not want just to jump right in with that unless you're already disposed to do that. You may want to walk into eating raw for a few days and then going to a juice fast for maybe 10 days. 5-10-day juice fast would be really, really good. And when you're doing that, you definitely need to make sure you're doing your Echinacea and you're doing your support herbs and making sure your bowels are open, because this is going to make you very alkaline. And when the body is alkaline, it's cutting waste from everywhere. So the joints and all that uric acid and everything that's inflaming the joints and causing all the pain is just going to be cut and moving through your system. And you want the liver to vacuum it up and eliminate it. The liver is the vacuum cleaner of the body. And so all the waste that is being cut needs to be able to be vacuumed up by the liver and moved on out. So that takes us to the next part of the program. Once you've got your bowels open and everything's moving well, and you're having at least a bowel movement in the morning and one after every major meal. This is the way God made us to function. Once that's established and you are using your Echinacea and you're on your good food program, and the foods that you really want to cut out are dairy, no more dairy, milk, dairy products, milk, and all this is mucus forming, and it's just going to clog up your system. So the dairy should be out. Sugar. I don't think I need to say how bad sugar is. Sugar is poison to our body. You can have honey, you can have maple syrup, you can have molasses. Just table sugar, white table sugar or brown sugar is out. You need to leave that alone. Sugar will, just one teaspoon of sugar is going to coat your immune cells and shut down your immune system for anywhere from 4 to 12 hours, depending on how much sugar you take. Sugar is really poison to the system. It also destroys the hormone levels in women, and just basically creates havoc in the body. If you can completely avoid sugar, you will be doing wonders for yourself. So sugar is out, dairy is out, and cheap foods, the cheap carbs, white flour, all of that, it works just like sugar in the body to a large degree. It just gums up the system, and it does not contribute to the health of the body. It actually draws on the nutrients that are in there that should be going to heal you, because your body has to neutralize that acid waste instead of neutralizing the waste that you want it to. So you're actually eating more junk that the body has to then take care of, so it's going to be even slower for healing. So try and stick with your whole grains, your solid, good foods, and that would be the food program. And then I would, like I said, I strongly suggest that you go to a juice fast for maybe 10 days is really good. You will definitely feel a big improvement after a 10-day juice fast. And no, it's not easy. Sometimes we have to work up to it. If you do it for 2 or 3 days the first time, give yourself a pat on the back. You did it. 2 or 3 days, that is something. Then the next time you can come back and you can try to go longer. It takes time to work up to these things. And if you are diabetic, you do need to deal with the sugar issues before you can do a juice fast. So give me a call and we can talk about anyone that's diabetic. We can talk about dealing with that issue before you would do a juice fast. All right, so we've established the foundational. Now, what are we actually going to do for the painful joints, to actually clear this issue from the body? All right, first off, hydrotherapy. Before we get to the herbies, let's finish up with the stuff that you need to be doing. Does anyone not know what hydrotherapy is?
I don't know what it is.
Okay. Hydrotherapy is water therapy. It's where we take water and use it to create circulation in the body. The hot water, in hydrotherapy, I want you to do your hots and colds. 7 hots and 7 colds. And what you do is you get in the shower, and if you have a shower wand, you make that as hot as you can stand without hurting yourself. And what that does is that brings the fresh blood to the surface. If you've ever, gotten yourself really toasty in a bath and you notice you're all pink, that's because the blood is all brought to the surface. Mm-hmm. And then what you do is you take and you turn that water completely, you step out of the water stream, or you turn the hose away from yourself and you turn it completely cold. And then you bring that over, once it's cold, you bring that over that hot joint, and that just forces the blood through. If you know, when people freeze to death or they have exposure to cold, all the blood goes to the heart and to the inner organs. It leaves the surface and it goes deep. So what we're doing with hydrotherapy is we are doing a forced circulation. The hot water brings the blood to the surface, and the cold drives it deep. It's like firing a blood bullet into the affected area. Yes. The more drama that there is between the hot and the cold, the deeper it's going to go, and the more dense, the more it's going to break up the blockage. Anytime you have pain or injury or any disease condition going on in the body, you have blockage. All of this comes when circulation is broken down in the body. When things are not cycling like they're supposed to, you have disease. It comes from blockage. So what we do with the hydrotherapy is we are going to break up that blockage. We are doing a forced circulation, bringing the blood to the surface and then slamming it deep. And then we bring more and we send it deep. And you're going to do 7 hots and 7 colds. And you can end on either hot or cold. It doesn't matter. In the summertime, I end on the cold. In the wintertime, I end on the hot. And I am speaking from experience on doing this. In 1985, my back was broken in a car accident. My head went into the windshield, and I had a compression break in my lower back. It didn't sever the spine, it just broke the vertebrae. And I
Ew.
suffered from horrible back spasms for years. It was like 13 years before I discovered what to do to fix it. And I could be standing up doing just fine, and then suddenly my back would go, I'm done, and I'd be flat on the floor. I'd just go straight to the floor. My back would quit working, and it would just drop me. And I would be in spasm and just in agony. And the hot and the cold, I could get into a shower when I could not even stand up straight. I mean, I was crawling into the shower, basically. I could do the hot and the cold on my back, and I would get out standing up straight with a spring in my step. It would just take all of that away, and it would do a forced circulation through there, take all the spasm out, and I would be good. So do not discount the hydrotherapy. It is cheap and it is effective. It is definitely worth doing. So I can't put enough emphasis, and I really prefer the hydrotherapy in the shower. There are, when you can put your feet, if your feet are really arthritic or something like that, you can do hot and cold buckets. But for most of our body, the shower, doing those 7 changes in the shower, I just find the circulation from the shower beating on me at the same time very comforting, and I think it does a better job than doing buckets or cold packs and heating pads. The change is more dramatic. And so the more drama that you have, the more effect it's going to be, the better the effect. So if you're doing your hot and colds, go ahead and ask your question, dear. May?
So
I couldn't catch that. It went away too quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you do the whole body? When you get...
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know whether you did the whole body or just the joint. Okay.
You can concentrate on the affected joint. Okay. But you want the circulation the whole body needs to circulate. Right. So if you just have, like your knees or your hands or something, you can concentrate on those, but I would definitely get the whole body involved. Okay. And believe me, it is hard to turn around and put your back to the cold water. I have done that, and I have cried. I have stood there in the shower crying and just telling God what I thought of him because this was so uncomfortable and it was miserable. And then there have been other times that I was just singing at the top of my lungs and just singing out loud. And it got pretty loud because when you turn your back into that cold water, you're not just breaking up physical congestion, you are also breaking up emotional congestion. The physical and the emotional rise and fall together. So as you're breaking up all this crustation in your joints and in your body, you're also breaking it up in your heart and your mind. The emotions are going to be moving too. Don't expect they're not going to come and go with this. If you don't deal with the emotional issues that come up at the times that you're clearing this waste from your body, you're just going to be pushing the disease condition back down in your body. You've got to deal with yourself. If you do not deal with yourself and with those issues that bubble to the surface as you're clearing the toxic waste, there will be emotional stuff that's going to bubble up. And if you don't deal with it, you're not going to get well. You will not get better. Anyone have any questions on that point? Okay.
How long do you do it?
Pardon?
When do you know to stop doing it? If you're doing it, how many times a week?
We're talking about the hydrotherapy.
Yeah.
You should be doing if in serious issues, I would say do your hydrotherapy 3 times a day. That is the Cadillac version. I know. Who wants to get in the shower in the middle of the day? The morning and the evening are good. But what I would always do in the middle of the day, because it was my knees a lot of times after my back got cleared up, it was my knees that went bad. I would just go and sit on the side of the bathtub and just use the hand wand over my knees and do a quick thing on my knees. You know, you can just pull your skirt up and go for it, or if you're a guy, drop your pants and get your feet out of them and just sit on the side of the tub and just do the hot and colds on your knees. But I mean, if you've got really serious arthritic issues, you're going to love the effects of the hydrotherapy. It's like somebody shot them full of oil. Everything just starts feeling better. They're lubricated, they move better, the joints aren't so stiff. You actually have a couple hours of feeling pretty good in those joints. So it's worth, the reward is almost instantaneous for the trouble.
Wow.
So don't discount the hydrotherapy, but the proper thing is 3 times a day when you're really trying to clear something. You know, when you're just kind of haphazardly working on it, just anytime you're in the shower, do your hydrotherapy. You know, just do your hots and colds. But if you're really working a program and you want to do it really well, it's 3 times a day.
Wow. Okay.
And try to do that middle of the day one.
All righty.
All right. Any other questions on that? Okay.
I have
Let's move
another
on.
question. I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
You had mentioned sugar,
Yes.
sugar from your diet. Are you just talking about white sugar, or because I've seen other types of sugar like coconut sugar? Or which sugars do you want? All of them out?
The only anything that's refined, coconut sugar, it tends to be just as refined as white sugar. The only things that I feel safe and that I feel comfortable recommending is honey, maple syrup, molasses. Those are the 3 sweeteners that I'm actually comfortable recommending. And the reason I'm comfortable recommending them is because I recently lost 240 pounds, okay? And I have been watching my food intake so carefully because I don't want to gain it back. My system, my endocrine system was really stressed from this, and I have to be so careful of everything that I put in my mouth. I can eat honey as long as it's within the calorie limit and, you know, and within everything. Honey does not bother me at all. Maple syrup does not bother me. Molasses does not bother me. And by bothering me, if I have even the amount of sugar that's in Laurie's seasoned salt sprinkled on a little bit of avocado in my crackers, I will shoot up 8 pounds overnight. And that happens because your insulin is spiked. Honey will not spike your insulin. Maple syrup does not spike your insulin. They're complicated carbohydrates. So if you are eating a sugar, and I cannot speak for or against the coconut sugar. I think that was the one that you mentioned. Because I have never took it, ingested it, but I know that it's processed quite a bit. So I would not be comfortable recommending that. Yes, Franklin.
You know, the natural sugars that are in things like apples and so forth, those are fine because they're not refined in any way.
Right. They're absolutely fine. I mean, yesterday, all I ate all day was I had 2 or 3 of my crackers, and my weight had kind of bounced up after our Thanksgiving thing. I let myself have a little bit of something. It was a little balsamic salad dressing, and it didn't say sugar on the label, but it must have had something in it because I popped up a little bit, but not really bad. And so I wanted just to, you know, get that a little bit off. And I ate, I just went on a fruit fast with some crackers, and I lost 4 pounds overnight. So I can honestly tell you that you can eat all the fruit you want, and it does not pop your insulin. This is if you are not diabetic. If you are diabetic, give me a call. We'll help with that program. We can do that. But for someone with good blood sugar issues and all that, it does not drive your insulin. And I guess to explain a little better of what happens when your insulin is spikes, when you spike your insulin, think of your metabolism as a big log that you're burning. You're burning this huge log in your fireplace, and you want it to burn really evenly. So you get it started, and it's burning, and it's going really well, and you're getting energy from it. You know, the heat's coming off, and so you're just burning the nutrients in you that you eat, and you're burning them at a steady course, so you're not losing weight more than you want, and you're not storing weight. You're just, your metabolism and all this is just burning really nice. Then you decide, somebody comes along and throws cardboard on there or paper onto that log, and it just goes up, and it just starts consuming everything really fast and really hot, and it just picks up. That is an insulin spike. That's what sugar does. It's like throwing paper onto a nicely burning log. It just spikes everything up, and then it burns it all really fast. So you get this pickup where you've got all, you're just flying, you got energy, you're cooking, and then it just drops you. And it might be 2 or 3 days before you have any energy left, that you get anything back. It just wipes you out, and that's your blood sugar just popping around. And that is what the cheap foods and the sugar will do to you, is it just sends you up momentarily, but then it's going to drop you really hard. And your blood sugars will just go wacky. And it's really not healthy to do that to yourself. Did I confuse everyone, or does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes great sense, Dara.
All right. Sometimes I get off and I wonder if my illustrations are making enough sense. I know I understand it. I don't know if I get the point across well. Okay, so we don't want to, we want to be able to not use the sugar, but you know, you can use your honey, you can use your maple syrup, and you can do a lot of good stuff with those. I mean, I've got a lot of sweet stuff I love to make, and it doesn't bother me. I can have it. So for recipes or anything, just let me know. I'll pass them on. So the food program. Once you've got the bowels open and you're boosting with your Echinacea, and the foundational program is in place, basically. And if you want more on the foundational, go to my blog. I've got quite a bit written on the foundational programs. Once those are established, then we're going to get into the specific program for the arthritis. Okay, hydrotherapy is definitely important in there. Now let's get into the Herbal Supports and what we're going to do topically. Topically, we want to apply the salves when the joints, and this is something that I find that I tend to confuse people with, so make sure that you understand what I'm saying. Don't let me go without making it plain. We're going to talk about the 2 salves that I have. The BF&C salve removes the inorganic mineral deposits and actually rebuilds and knits the tissues back together. It actually rebuilds cartilage. And of course, I never said that because it's impossible to rebuild cartilage, according to them. But this is what God has given us, and it works. All right. The arthritis, the A&R, we call it A&R salve because we can't fit arthritis and rheumatism on the salve labels. There's not enough space. So we just shortened it to A&R. But it's the exact same formula as in the arthritis formula, which is the liquid form of it, which you will take orally. The arthritis and rheumatism salve, the A&R, is for inflamed joints. This is for when the joints are hot and inflamed and painful. And what this salve does is it actually dissolves the urea crystals, which is what is the uric acid crystals are inflaming the joints. And that is what causes them to become inflamed and hot and painful. So when you have the inflamed, hot, painful joints, you want to wrap them with the A&R salve, the arthritis and rheumatism, get that inflammation down, get those urea crystals cleared out, And once that issue is cleared up, you know, and the joints aren't so painful, then you can switch back to the BF and C, the bone, flesh, and cartilage. This, the BF and C has the gravel root in it, which dissolves inorganic mineral deposits that are in the joints, that are actually stuck to them and on it. The other nutrients in this, the other herbs and nutrients work to actually rebuild the tissue, rebuild the joints and all that. And so you're not just cleaning them up, you're actually providing the nutrients to rebuild the joint area to make it healthy again. This is not going to happen overnight. As you know, the bones and cartilage and all that is the densest part of our body. So you're looking at a good 9 to 12 months of serious work to rebuild cartilage and bone and all that in there. It takes time, but what you do get right away is you're going to get relief from the pain. When the inflammation is gone and when circulation is happening, the pain goes away. Pain comes because of blockage. So when you've got the inflammation cleared and they're not being blocked up, the joints aren't blocked up anymore, there will not be pain. The pain is going to clear. You've still got to finish healing them and do the work to take in and redo them. Yes, Franklin. Franklin, you had your hand up. You're still muted.
Sorry, I was muted. So in the 9 to 12 months for doing the program with BF&C and ANR, are you using the BF&C salve daily? And the ANR salve, are you wrapping with that at night? Or how frequently is this being put onto your joints?
Okay, I would do every night. You're going to be doing something on them. If they're inflamed and painful, use the ANR. If it's just going along and they're fine, then use the BF and C. If it's bad enough and you want to use it during the day, what you want to do is give yourself 4 to 6 hours each day with a rest from the packs, because we want the tissue to have time to absorb the oils and not to become oil logged. So when you're using, that's one of the worst things. I worked with one of our members years back, and he had a really bad arthritic spine. He was actually in a wheelchair, and he was doing the BF and C packs, and he was getting such great results that he was leaving them on 24/7, and he broke out in bumps, and he had to completely leave the packs alone for like 6 to 8 weeks for it all to clear up. And it's because the olive oil, your skin just becomes oversaturated, and you don't want that to happen. So give yourself 4 to 6 hours each day where it's free and clear, and take and wash every day, you know, with a good soap, and you can even use a little bit of vinegar water, you know, water with some apple cider vinegar in it to really clean those pores out. So and then I would rinse again after that.
Right. So if you're having a moderate arthritic pain or discomfort, then you might simply put the BF and C salve on it in the evening, but not wrap it. Or maybe you would wrap it as well every night.
I wouldn't ever just, it's almost a waste just to put it on without wrapping it.
Okay.
Because you want to saturate the tissue with it, and just rubbing it in is not going to saturate. It's not going to go deep enough, and it's going to end up rubbing off and evaporating.
Okay. And so you would wrap it with flannel, but would you need to use any castor oil with that, or would you just wrap it with?
No castor oil is needed when you're doing a salve pack.
Okay.
What I would do underneath it, and this, well, I would do it regardless of where it was, the M&L salve to go on first. You rub that on like a lotion. The mullein and lobelia, and what that does, mullein and lobelia opens up the lymphatic system and just opens up everything. And also, if you have really painful joints, or your knees locked up joints from time to time, things like that, the M&L salve will instantly release a locked joint.
Okay. excuse me.
Go ahead.
So if I'm doing this at night, I would put M&L, for example, on one of my fingers, and then I would
Mhm.
also put BF&C on there, and then I would wrap it with phlegm.
Right. Well, you put the BF&C on the flannel so that it's really thick.
Okay.
Yeah, I would put the
M&L goes on.
salve on the flannel.
Okay, so the M&L goes on the joint. The BF&C salve thickly goes on the phlegm.
Right. So you can put it on there thick enough. And when the joints are inflamed or painful, you might want to use the A&R. So
Okay.
you said you had one that was moderately painful.
Correct.
By morning, it won't be painful anymore. The A&R works so well at just taking the urea crystals out, taking the inflammation down.
So I would use the A&R instead of the BF&C if it's painful.
Right. If it's painful, if it's hot and painful, use the A&R. And usually just one time overnight, and it's going to go back and forth as it heals and the waste comes out. It's going to become inflamed from time to time just because of I think our bodies just can't handle everything that we're doing at times. And so if it becomes heated up again, just go back to the A&R again. If you're using the tinctures internally at the same time, for really serious issues, you can actually use the BF&C every 3 hours.
The tincture.
So that would turn out to be, the tincture. So even when you're having to use the A&R on the joint, you can be taking the BF&C internally, so you're still getting the benefit from the BF&C. It's just you're not saturating the tissue directly with it.
Oh, use the
So
tincture.
Right. So,
Yeah,
another question, is uric acid also the acid that is known to produce gout?
yes.
So
Yes.
basically, arthritis is to a degree a moderate form of gout.
I would say very likely that would kind of fit in there. Christopher does get into in his material. He does make the comment that some things are arthritic, but and gout is arthritis. Is always arthritis.
Okay.
And that's definitely a good explanation of it. It's arthritis. For really inflamed gout issues, what you can do to get really good relief overnight, when it's so painful that you can't even put a pack on it, because gout can be so painful that the person can't even tolerate having the salve put on it. In cases like that, what you want to do is soak the foot, and this works beautifully, in a 50-50 mix, as hot as you can get it made, of apple cider vinegar and water, and do a foot soak in that. And we're talking a half hour to 45 minutes. So you're going to be using quite a bit of apple cider vinegar, but it's worth it. I know it's expensive, but it's definitely worth it to do that. That is just going to, by the next morning, you're going to be praising the Lord and thanking him for his gift of apple cider vinegar, because it just takes it down so well. And then apply the salves and the things and get that joint healed up once you can then stand to touch it. Okay, any other questions on applying the salve and on understanding the two different salves and how they're used? Okay, all right. Now the extracts, the herbal extracts, does anyone not know what an herbal extract is? All right. The herbal extracts, you'll want to take them as a cup of hot tea. I just finished drinking some myself, and what I like to do is I will put a teaspoon of the extract into my cup and put the boiling water in there with it. And then I will add a little bit of almond milk. You can put honey in with it. The BF&C is quite bitter. It's got black walnut, so it tends to have a real bitter bite. And just a little bit of honey will take that bitter bite away. So the almond milk and the honey is really good with the BF and C. When you've got a really serious issue going on, I would suggest that you can take your teaspoon of BF and C every 3 hours throughout waking hours throughout the day. The arthritis and rheumatism formula can also be taken orally, and I would suggest 3 times a day on that one. So you can be taking the formulas orally, even when you have to pick and choose what pack you're going to use on the joint. But keeping it in the blood and using it internally is going to keep the nutrients in the body so they can continue to do their work from the inside. Any questions on that? All right. So now let's talk about what this program is supposed to look like. What we're doing now is you're on the program, you're packing your joints, you're taking your herbs orally, your bowels are open, everything's moving, you're on a good food program, and you've been feeling really good. You're doing your hydrotherapy, the hot and the cold, and you're feeling really great. And then it comes along and it's like you say, well, it's not working so good anymore. Well, guess what? When what was working stops working, or what we know works isn't working well enough, it's time to flush your liver. It is time to do an ELF. The vacuum cleaner is full. That vacuum cleaner bag that is your liver has vacuumed up all the stuff it's going to get, and it's full. So now instead of pulling, it's blowing. When that vacuum cleaner bag gets full, you're no longer going to be able to get this waste out of your body. It's just going to cycle around and settle back in, and it's not going to be working so good anymore. So my suggestion is, so you don't get to that point, is that you do an ELF, which is short for emergency liver flush. And what an ELF is, it is not a detox in and of itself. An ELF is just a procedure that flushes your liver through. It's like taking a fire hose to one end of your liver and just flushing it through and getting all the waste out. And when your liver gets cleared out, then it can start pulling waste again. So it would be a good idea when you're doing a strong program if you're going to ELF at least once a week. The other option would be you also need to support your kidneys. The kidneys need to be able to turn that dead waste into uric acid or into the urea so that it can be eliminated, and you do not make arthritic joints. So supporting your kidneys is also really good. You can do a mini kidney flush every day when you do your hot lemonade. Your hot lemonade is a daily kidney flush. And you follow this to do the full thing. You would follow it with 32 ounces or whatever. This is my big thing of my kidney bladder tea. And I make this, and it actually doesn't taste too bad. I'll take and make a gallon of tea on the stove, and it'll last for 2 or 3 days, and I just drink it down, and I put a teaspoon of the kidney bladder tincture into my jug when I put it in the jug. Sometimes I'll drink it hot, and this is a pretty big mug. I know it's kind of hard to tell the size of it, but it is a big mug. And I'll fill this with the hotter tea and put a teaspoon of the tincture into that, and that just adds more nutrients to it. If your kidneys if you've got arthritic issues in your body, your kidneys are not doing well, and you really need to support them. So your hot lemonade, and I do have a video on how you make the hot lemonade and what it's all about, but in a nutshell, the hot lemonade is a nice sized drink. Mine is 32 ounces. Most people can do between 16 and 24 ounces of liquid. And it has your lemon juice to taste, a tablespoon to an ounce of apple cider vinegar, and a teaspoon of cayenne tincture. And you have to work up to getting used to that cayenne tincture. It is hot, but you can do this. And this is going to stimulate your kidneys, and it's going to flush them. The lemon juice and the apple cider vinegar just clear the sediment and the pus from the kidneys. So doing that every day, you're going to be doing a couple things. You're going to prevent yourself from making any kidney stones. There will be no kidney stones in a body that drinks that every day. And you're also, the veins in the kidney are about the width of a hair of your head, okay? They're really small. So you get even the smallest bit of gravel or pus in there, and you're gonna just be stopping up the kidneys, which causes the heart to have to push harder, and it increases blood pressure. So when the kidneys are not functioning well, you can see quite a few different issues going on in the body, and one of them is that the blood pressure will tend to be elevated. If you are on a good food program and you're doing everything right and your blood pressure is just ticking up and it just seems to not be stabilized, do the intense kidney flushing program. That is going to just go through. It's like doing an ELF on your kidneys. It's a real intense kidney flushing program. It's a 3-day protocol. And it just clears everything out of those kidneys, and you will find your blood pressure just ticking right back down, and things will just level out. So it's excellent support for blood pressure issues, as well as making sure the kidneys can do their job. But we need to support the kidneys so that you are making your urea and not making your uric acid. We want to not make more of that. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you're doing 32 ounces of water every morning?
It's water with the lemon and apple
Yeah.
cider vinegar and cayenne.
I mean,
I make a big 32-ounce glass.
Okay, but do you drink that right away in the morning? Because I get up in the morning and I do an 8-ounce and just drink it down.
Yeah, it's how I rehydrate. In the morning is I'll rehydrate with 32 ounces of hot lemonade.
And you're doing the 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in 32 ounces and 1 teaspoon of the cayenne in the 32 ounces. And you drink that in the morning.
Yeah, it's usually my first drink that goes down in the morning.
Are you saying you drink it all at once?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have a problem doing that. Most
Okay.
people cannot drink that much at one time, so make what you can drink. I mean, that's a lot for most people to get down. I can do it. It doesn't bother me. I'm used to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Jean? You
What?
need to unmute yourself.
Yes,
There.
I started.
Yes.
I started to drink that, the 32 ounces of water with the apple cider vinegar and the cayenne pepper, and also a lemon juice. Yeah, I've been doing it for about a week now. So,
how are you feeling on that?
I feel okay. It fills me up. I can't really eat anything until lunchtime. So.
Well, you don't have to do 32 ounces.
Okay.
You can make whatever size of that you want.
Okay.
I don't tend to eat at all until
Right.
12 or 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I do intermittent fasting, so my eating time is usually sometime between 1 and 4 or 5 is when I eat. And so it doesn't matter that I'm stuffed.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I just wanted to, so I can lessen it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can definitely lessen that. Make it whatever you want it to be.
Okay. One other question.
Sure.
What would you suggest for a good salad dressing? I guess a homemade would be better than buying a salad dressing.
Oh, what I love on my salad dressing, my favorite is olive oil with lemon juice and some seasoned salt and garlic granules.
Okay.
And I put that on mine. If you want something a little more creamy, you can use your extra firm silken tofu and make it up like like you would for mayonnaise. I have the recipes. I can share them with you. And then once
Okay.
you've got your mayonnaise made, and I can give you the recipe for that, it makes a delicious mayonnaise. Then you can add an avocado into that if you like avocados, and just
Oh,
blend an
okay, yeah.
avocado in it.
Okay.
And the fresh garlic, if you
Mhm.
take and blend in the fresh
Mhm.
garlic, it gives it a real zing.
Okay.
And just play with anything that will blend up well. I mean, you can throw in extra onions. You can't
Okay.
use carrots or something that is going to be grainy. You know, carrots
Okay.
wouldn't work.
Okay.
You know, something like that. But any of the soft stuff that would be good. I mean, I tend to go with the avocado,
Yeah.
garlic, and onion, and that I like it spicy.
Okay, yeah.
And
Okay.
and it makes, and you can also use that for your sour cream. If you do use the extra firm silken tofu to make
Okay.
sour cream, that recipe is really easy. It's just
Okay.
lemon juice, salt, and a little bit of salad oil. You can't use
Okay.
olive oil in that because the flavor is too strong.
Okay.
And I put a little bit of dried mustard in mine, mustard
Mhm.
powder, and that just gives a little zing to the sour cream. But the sour
Okay.
cream is basically just lemon juice and salt with some oil thrown in, and you just put that in the food processor or blender and just make it smooth.
Okay. I see. Okay. Well, I would love the recipe. I would love that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, text me later or send me an email and I can attach them. I have them
Okay.
all on my computer in the other
Okay.
room.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, Franklin.
So when you're talking about a 10-day juice fast, obviously a good juice is to actually juice apples or to juice celery and so forth. So is something like this also acceptable in a juice fast? Which is
No.
just checking. See, this is important information.
You don't know how much I disagree with my husband drinking that stuff, but I keep my mouth shut. That is not nutritionally all that great.
So basically, a juice fast should be raw juices that you juice out of oranges or apples.
Yes. In the winter time, you want to stay away from the citrus and go with your apples and that. They're denser, there's more calories there, and it'll keep you a little bit warmer. In the summertime, if you juice your oranges and things like that, it actually helps keep you cooler. You won't feel as hot. If it's almost like an air conditioner for your blood, the oranges and all that.
So basically, if you're going to try and do a 10-day juice fast, it's between things like the hot lemonade. Now, the hot lemonade, of course, that's part of the juice fast because you have the apple cider vinegar in it, which is not a juice, but that's okay. And so the hot lemonade and would the superfood be a part of the juice fast?
Yes. Yes,
Superfood?
your superfood drink, that's your meal. You do your superfood 3 times a day while you're on the juice fast.
Okay.
And that gives you your protein and all of that good stuff.
Okay. All right. That sounds pretty.
And I'll just give you my favorite juice here. When I'm juice fasting for a real extended period of time, I will do apples, pears for my fruit drink. Apples, pears, pineapple, and either honeydew or cantaloupe that I juice, and that adds the honeydew and cantaloupe add a nice flavor and quite a bit of volume to it. And then of course I put the kale in there. I'll take 8 to 10 kale leaves and roll it up, and I'll make about a gallon, probably 3/4 of a gallon of the fruit juice. And then I do not like carrot juice. I don't care for the vegetable juice that much. I tend to be more of a fruit juice drinker, but I will take and make myself 2 big quarts of the carrot juice and force myself to drink it. Simply because you need it to build your immune system, the immune cells. So the carrot juice is important. But if you're like me and you don't like carrot juice that much, you still have to drink it. Yes, I see 2 hands up. Maxine?
I understand that people with arthritis have to stay away from nightshades, tomatoes. Is that true?
I haven't found that to be all that valuable. When it probably would be a good idea if you're not doing anything to cleanse your body and support your body. You know, if you're just doing all the suppression therapy from westernized medicine, then yeah, that's probably good advice. But what we're doing here is we're actually clearing it from we're clearing the underlying condition. So tomatoes to me are one of God's gifts to us. And the nightshades, I understand that those are the tomatoes, right? Right. And
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you know, if you eat tomatoes, you know, if you've been leaving them off and avoiding them, you know, add them back in as you get into your program. Add one back in. If you have no issues with it, enjoy your tomatoes. You know, it's really a matter of suppression therapy, and what they do in westernized medicine is they tend to suppress the things that create the detoxing in the body. I mean, they'll take foods away and take more and more away and say, oh, this is just going to inflame your issue and all that. Well, what it's doing, if you look at what God has given us, a food, when it inflames you, what is actually happening is you have a movement of toxins. It is trying to detox you, but you're not cooperating with nature to let the detox happen. So you end up swelling up, that movement of toxins out from the lower layer areas up into the upper areas. And then they have to get reabsorbed because your bowels aren't moving, you're not supporting your liver function. And so the waste can't get out. It just swells up, and then you want to make it go back down. So you do whatever suppression work that the doctor recommends, and you stay off the food that was so nutritious that it made you detox. Am I making sense to people, or am I confusing you?
You're making sense.
You know, a gift from God, nature, the food that God intended us to eat is not poison. Quite often what it is it's too friendly. It's detoxing us, and we're not ready for that kind of detox yet. So we have a food that affects you very strongly and that causes a detoxing reaction in you, a swelling, a movement of waste, an acute reaction that comes up in you. Do not consider that food poison. It's not. That food is going to be your savior, but you have to get to the place where you can allow it to do the work in you it needs to do. An example is my mentor into natural healing like 25, 30 years ago, whatever it was. She was allergic to strawberries. She could not eat strawberries. One strawberry and she would go into anaphylactic shock. Okay, she took natural healing as truth, and she did her liver flushing. She was doing all the good work. She did about 9 months or whatever of really good work. And then she says, okay, I am going to fix this strawberry thing. She took a nibble of strawberry. She was doing an active liver flush, a week of active liver flushing, and she took a nibble of strawberry, which would have killed her at other times. And what happened to her was it was about a month or maybe 2 month process. She broke out in a hive over her heart, and then that hive went away. Then she broke out in a hive over her liver, I think it was, and then that went away. I mean, she's liver flushing and detoxing this whole time. And basically the strawberry went down her body and just detoxed all these things, breaking out in the hive, and all that was the toxins being moved out of that area. And then she supported her body in getting them out. And once that happened, she can now eat strawberries like anybody else. She just did, but it was one little nibble a day. Pardon?
Oh, Kathy was making a comment about a lady in our church, but Jody Weibel has been using BFC extract and salve. and
Mhm.
she texted me and said she's allergic to black walnut.
Yes.
And she's got sores on her tongue from it. So can you make it without
Yeah.
black walnut?
No, it won't be any good without black walnut. What we can do, I believe the arthritis and rheumatism does not have black walnut. Let me double check. Yes, that is a black walnut is one of those things that we would have to, let me see if I can find that formula in all this paperwork I got here. I believe I've got it hidden somewhere in here. Okay, the Dr. Christopher's arthritis formula contains hydrangea,
It does have black walnut.
brigham herb, chaparral, burdock, sarsaparilla, wild lettuce, wormwood. Oh, and black walnut. Ah, darn. I thought it didn't.
Huh. Oh, well.
Yeah. She may need to come at this from a way of detoxing to start with until she can use the black walnut. The other thing that we could do is we've done it for other people who have had issues. We could make up, it'd be really hard to make up the BF&C because we have such big vats of that. I mean, the BF&C is huge. What we can do is, this is something I think we can do. We could sell you the dry kits of the BF&C without the black walnut. We could make a fresh batch. And when we make our fresh batch, we can cut out some and then sell it to you without the black walnut in it. But we can't make it that way. It would just, we would make too much and there wouldn't be enough people needing it. But we could supply the dry kits without it.
Yeah. But will it still work?
Okay, well, let's look here. Black walnut, which one is that? I've got one of these has the properties of what black walnut does. Okay. Black walnut is high in iodine and is one of the few plants specific in clearing fungus and is extremely high in potassium chloride for the blood and lymph, potassium sulfate for the skin and mucous membranes, and potassium phosphate for the brain and nerve food. Yeah, it's not going to contribute to the removal of what the gravel root does. And the comfrey is the real one. Comfrey is a cell proliferant, causing the good cells to grow rapidly and push off the dead cells and unwanted accumulations. So the comfrey is the real key to it. The gravel root is another real good key in this formula. It is a solvent to leach off the inorganic calcifications from tap water and processed foods, etc., and make place for the organic calcium derived from the comfrey, oak bark, and some of the other herbs used in this combination. So you are going to be losing, by removing this, you're going to be losing the antifungal part of the formula. It's not going to have the antifungal properties anymore. That's what you're going to lose with that. Okay. I would maybe substitute with using the herbal antibiotic because, of course, the infection formula has a black walnut in it.
Right.
So, but the herbal antibiotic does not. That's the one that's all about garlic. So just know, she needs to know that she's not getting the antifungal support. Doing it that way, but we could offer dry kits without it, but I would not be willing to say that we would make it, actually produce it.
Okay, thanks, Darren.
Not a problem, dear. Yes, Jean. You're still muted.
Oh, I didn't realize my hand was still up, but I had one other question about the salad dressing. So the product, I think it's pronounced Echinacea, that would not be a good product to use. on salad dressing. On
Veganase, it has
veganase.
sugar in it.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, all of those have sugar in them. That's why I don't
Okay.
use them.
I got you. All
I
right.
I avoid sugar like the plague. It's
Right.
just so bad.
Okay.
And you can make these things and they're perfectly delicious.
Yeah. Well, I'll try it. I will try it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be happy to share my recipes. And at my blog, I've made a lot of different recipes, and I've actually videotaped some cooking recipes that are at
Can
my blog.
can you repeat your blog address?
Yeah, Dara Dietz, my first and last name, which you can see here under my screen.
Right.
DaraDietz.me, Mary
Okay.
Edward.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, man.
There.me. And that'll take
Yeah,
me to.
that's my blog. And I
Okay.
do have recipes and cooking things that I've done on there.
Okay.
And I will probably do more in the near future. I've been playing in my kitchen and coming up with some stuff. And Franklin, guess what I did over the weekend that was so good?
What is that?
I added blueberries to my pancakes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Frozen blueberries.
Oh,
They
yeah.
turned out so good.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, it was a couple cups, and I made sure they were good and mushy and watery. And they actually were better the day after than when I first made them. I put the leftovers in the refrigerator, and the next day it was like eating a blueberry muffin. They were so good.
That's great, Dara.
Yeah, and I also used the mixed berry from Sam's Club, the berry mix.
Right.
I'd use that one too, but make sure they're really, really mushy, and really thawed out and really mushy. And oh, it was so good in the pancakes. I have a pancake recipe on there that is made with chickpea flour and oat flour.
Chickpea, oat.
And they're really good.
Dara, would
Yeah,
you be
so
willing
no
to sell?
grains.
Dara, would you be willing to sell your pancake mix powdered form like that? Would you be interested in selling something like that?
I hadn't thought about it, but I could mix it up and sell it. I just for anyone who didn't see my newsletter, my cracker mix is now for sale in bulk. We've decided to, but not the sweet one, just the savory. It's $6 a pound was what we had to charge for it. So the bulk seed cracker mix is available for $6 a pound, and it makes and the videos on there to show you how to put it together. But it comes with some directions. The pancake mix, yeah, I think the only thing I could do everything except you would have to add the vanilla and the almond milk.
Okay.
The liquid vanilla and the almond milk would have to be added separately, but that would be the only thing. And then, of course, if you wanted to add the berries, nummy. Oh, that was so good. That was such a bright idea.
Yeah, I would be interested in something like your pancake mix, really.
Yeah, it's completely grain free.
Yeah.
It does have the oat flour. I do use the oat flour, but if you don't want the oats, you can actually use buckwheat flour instead. And buckwheat, of course, is not a grain; it's a seed. So you can use the buckwheat flour instead of the oat flour. It's interchangeable. It gives it a little different flavor, but they're both delicious.
Now, oat wheat is gluten free, right? Oat flour is gluten free, right?
Yes, oat flour is gluten free. And it's also high in protein. It doesn't pop my insulin. It doesn't give me any issues. And all the grains, I can't even do rice right now. I mean, even brown rice doesn't agree with me at this point in time. I'm hoping that my body will recover a little bit more. Believe it or not, losing 240 pounds in about a year. It was 9 months. I hit the 200-pound off mark between 9 and 10 months.
That's amazing.
Wow.
It really put a stress on my endocrine system. I mean, I'm having to rebuild a lot, but I don't regret it. The Lord was with me in it. So praise the Lord, and I'll just do the work to clean up my life and keep keep it off. And it's a daily battle. I mean, my body just says, what am I doing so skinny? And I'm not completely skinny yet, but it's definitely better than it was.
Mm.
You could be to be commended. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Well, the honest truth is, and this is a testimony I've shared a few times, I've always knew that the Lord and I were going to walk down this road together, the weight loss road. It came because of early child abuse, early rape. I was raped when I was 7 and sexually abused from the cradle. There's fallout from this kind of stuff. It doesn't just go away. You have to work through it. And the Lord and I have done the work. And I knew at some point I wasn't going to need that emotional padding anymore, that it could go. I did not have any idea how he was going to get me to lose that weight. I had no clue how that was going to go down. And you know what? We did it. And I still don't know how he got me to do it. That is the miracle of salvation and the miracle of his transforming grace. He does it. All you have to do is just consent every day to his power in your life. And you allow him in to do what he wants to do in your life, and you just follow behind every day, and he'll take you down the road you need to go down. Maxine, your hand is still up. Is that on purpose?
Yes. I'm curious, what can I do to build strong bones, to make sure my bones are strong?
Oh, okay.
Okay. The BF&C and the calcium formula. Those two can be taken in the same cup, and they're both very high in absorbable calcium.
Okay.
We make Dr. Christopher's calcium formula, which I use almost every day. And then the BF&C is also very high in calcium herbs.
Oh, okay. Thanks very much. I have to get them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like my vitamin mineral supplement. I take it every day. I mean, it's, when you weigh a lot and then you're always tearing something up.
Okay.
So the BF&C is just like a daily supplement that you're just going to keep using.
Okay.
So you have to use 2 of them. I mean, 2 types. The calcium.
Yeah, there's the calcium formula and the BF&C. The calcium formula, the master herb for calcium is actually horsetail grass.
Okay.
That is the master calcium herb, and it actually has no calcium in it. What it is you're swallowing the calcium factory. The silica in the horsetail grass converts the calcium in the body. And the reason that God did it this way and that it was so important is because when you have high blood levels of calcium, you will go to sleep.
It's a pen. Need a marker. It's a box of markers.
I hear somebody talking.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. High blood levels of calcium induce sleep. So you do not want to take a calcium supplement that just dumps the calcium into your body all at once, because you'll become sleepy. The herb in nature that has the highest calcium content is valerian root. And I think we all know what valerian root does.
Make you sleepy.
It'll put you out. It's one of the best. It's the most powerful sedative herb that we have, and it's the highest calcium content herb. So we do not want to take a calcium herb that has calcium in it. We want to take something like the horsetail grass that converts the calcium in the body so that it doesn't hit our blood all at once. It trickles into the system and it won't make you sleepy.
So you saying, Dara, that you have a calcium formula?
Yes, we have the liquid herbal extract. It's called the calcium formula. Real simple.
Okay.
And it works really well. I've never been able to take calcium supplements of any kind because of my kidney issues. I came into natural healing with kidney issues. And calcium would just, any calcium supplement at all would put such a stress on my kidneys, they would just go kaput. I mean, I'd quit producing urine and I would be in so much pain. the calcium formula, I didn't expect it to be any better, but I went ahead and made it, and it does not bother me at all. And it actually took away my restless leg syndrome, which was calcium driven. I very seldom get the restless leg issues anymore. Once in a while, they'll still try to come up. I think that's a woman's thing. But overall, I don't have the restless legs, which I suffered with for years, and I couldn't take any calcium supplements to deal with them. So, okay, have we, are you all understanding the program for the arthritis? I mean, any questions on this program?
And information regarding the program can be found on your blog?
Yes, it can be found on the blog, and it's also called the Incurables program. So you're going to be doing the liver flushing, the kidney flushing, the foundational stuff, that whole program, the whole thing on there, with the addition of the formulas that target the arthritis, the BF&C and the arthritis formula, and the salve. So you've got to do, I mean, if all you want to do is sit down and do your salve packs and take your tinctures, you're going to get some benefit, but it's going to quit working in about 2 or 3 months. And you're just going to be wasting your money, because your liver will be filled up. Your kidneys are going to start bitching and complaining. You've got to support the eliminative organs. If you don't support your body in the process, it's not going to continue to work. So, you know, to get the complete healing, you need to do your liver flushing and your kidney flushing also. You don't necessarily have to do big, long weeks of all this. I mean, this is not a major cancer or a major issue that's going to send you to the ground in 6 months. But you do have to support the liver and the kidneys in being able to do their job. So, you know, your daily mini kidney flushing with the KBT and your hot lemonade, excellent for the kidney support. I do have another thing that I've been playing with recently, which I kind of hinted at it in the newsletter. But let's see what time. Well, we're looking at almost 8 o'clock. I may have to save that for the next class. It was really interesting stuff, but I'm still playing with it, so I'm not really ready to talk about it too fast yet. But doing your liver flushing work, and at least 1 ELF a week. If you're not going to be doing a week of liver flushing, you've got to flush that liver at least once a week, just to make sure it can do the work that you're asking it to do. I hate it when people get everything backed up on them.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
If I don't have any problem with arthritis, but how often should I do this liver flush?
If you're not dealing with any serious issues in your body, I would say seasonally. Or if you start dragging, anytime that you're just feeling kind of bogged down and not right in yourself, flush your liver. It's amazing how things get straightened out. If you have to do like a detox, an infection program, you will need to be liver flushing. If you get sick or end up needing to do some COVID work, you would definitely be liver flushing at that point. But if it's just a matter of going along and living your life, it would be seasonally. When the season changes, you need to change the oil in your body. So do your liver flush, do your kidney flush, and just take a couple weeks and cleanse yourself out 4 times a year.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Okay, do we have any other questions on this? I've covered my notes. I would feel like especially with the arthritis stuff, that I don't always get the points across well enough. But go ahead, Jean.
Yeah, one question. Okay. I do need a bone building supplement.
The
And you
BFNC.
mentioned the BFC and the calcium formula. So I would need to do the liver and kidney flush along with that.
It would be good, especially if you're just coming into the natural healing, doing a good week of kidney and liver flushing just to get your body moving and to see what it feels like going down in your body.
Okay. Okay.
And
All
then
right,
just let the spirit lead you into how often you need to do that. I find the Holy Spirit is to take us into all truths, and it will take you into the truth of this too, if you're listening.
Okay.
We have to keep our spiritual ears open.
Thank you. All right.
All right, dear.